Okay guys, so in this video we learn about file permissions. First point, why is file permission required? So a very simple answer. We had learned some differences between a workgroup and a domain, and in that particular differentiation we had learned that in a domain you may have, or it is better to have, a centralized storage. Centralized storage, what was it? Centralized storage, or you may say common storage, is a place where all the data of all the employees gets saved. That means data of all the employees is getting saved at a centralized location known as the centralized storage. So now what happens? Assume I, as an employee, when I try to access my data, how will I do it? I will have to go into that storage to check for my files. Now what happens? When I enter that storage, since data of all the employees is saved at a single location, when I enter the storage, I can see my files as well as files saved by the other employees. And here is the scope for theft. How? I can read data of other employees. I can delete the data or the files created by other employees, or I can modify the content of other employees. Also, I can try to steal away their data. So this is theft of data, stealing away data, or basically deleting or modifying data created by other employees. So now, to protect against this threat, what we do is we deploy file permissions. The topic says file permissions, but we say file or folder permissions. So what do we do is we apply permissions on the folders as well as files as to who can enter my folder, who cannot, who can read my files, who cannot, who can modify my files, who cannot, and finally who can delete my files and who cannot. So how do we do this? So basically, when we talk about file permissions, there are two main permissions, namely SMB, which is server message block, and NTFS, new technology file system. What's the difference between the two? Difference number one, SMB can only be applied on folders and not files. I repeat, SMB can only be applied on folders, whereas NTFS can be applied both on folders as well as files. That means if I have a file and I want to apply permission on that particular file, SMB is not possible. Hence, I will have to go with NTFS. So this is difference number one between SMB and NTFS. And difference number two is the third point that you read in the slide. Access-based enumeration. It's an important one, guys. Access-based enumeration, you find this feature only in NTFS and not in SMB. What is this? With the help of access-based enumeration, you can hide, I repeat, you can hide files or folders from those users who do not have permissions. That means if I deny a particular user, that user won't be able to see the folder or the file on which he has been denied. Such is the importance of access-based enumeration, which you get in NTFS, but you do not get in SMB. So these are the two differences that we've learned. SMB can be applied on folders, and NTFS can be applied on folders as well as files. You have access-based enumeration in NTFS, but not SMB. So now, in the next video, when we practically demonstrate and verify file permissions, how will we do it? So over here, you see a very simple example where you have two folders. One folder is the manager and second folder is for the user, or you may say the normal employee. Now, a manager can read as well as write in his own folder. Now, read as well as write. Read means to open the file and see the content, and write means to either delete or modify. So a manager can read and write in his own folder, and the same way at the bottom, if you notice, the employee can also read and write in his own folder since he is the owner of that folder. Now, next, the employee cannot check the manager's data, or you may say the employee cannot enter the manager's folder, hence deny. Why so? Because generally what happens in a company is a normal employee is not given the permission to read or check what his boss has saved. So we'll use deny. And the manager, on the other hand, can read into the employee's folder, or you may say read the employee's data, but not write. Or else what will happen is, if in case there is a personal grudge, so the manager may try to delete the files or modify the files of his employee. So generally what we can do is we can have the manager only read the employee's data so as to monitor or track the performance of his employees, but not write. So this is a very simple example which we would be verifying in the upcoming video, where you see how to apply SMB, how to apply NTFS, and how to apply access-based enumeration. So stay tuned, guys. We'll see the practicals in the next video. Thank you.